November 4th, 1979. 10:30 a.m. United States Embassy, Tehran, Iran. The gates buckle under the weight of hundreds. You can hear the chanting before you see them, a roar that echoes off the embassy walls, growing louder with every second. Mar Bar America. Death to America. The Marine Guards inside clutch M16s, sweat beading under their helmets despite the cool autumn air. They've been told to hold position, not to fire. Not yet. Outside, the crowd surges forward. Young men in denim jackets and women in black chatters scale the wrought iron fence, like water overflowing a dam. Placards bearing the face of Ayatollah Khomeini rise above the sea of bodies. One student, barely 20 with thick-rimmed glasses, reaches the top first. He plants a hand on the spike, vaults over, and lands hard on the embassy lawn. Others follow. 10, 20, 50. Inside the Chancery building, Vice Consul Richard Moorfield watches through a window on the second floor. His mouth is dry. He knows what this is. Not a protest. An invasion. Behind him, staff members shred documents as fast as the machines will take them. The smell of burning paper drifts through the hallways. Someone shouts to lock the vault. Too late. The doors are already rattling. This moment, this exact breach, will rupture the relationship between two nations for decades. It is not the beginning of the story, but it is the moment the world will remember, the moment Iran and the United States became enemies. For months earlier, the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, America's closest ally in the Middle East, had fled the country. He left behind a throne built on oil wealth, modernization, and the ruthless efficiency of his secret police, the SAVAK. For 25 years, the U.S. had propped him up, trained his military, sold him weapons, turned a blind eye to the torture chambers. Then came the revolution. Clerics and communists and students united under one demand. The Shah must go. And he did. On January 16th, 1979, he boarded a plane and never returned. In his place rose a different kind of power. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, a 76-year-old cleric who had spent 14 years in exile. Khomeini didn't want partnership with the West. He wanted independence, sovereignty, an Islamic republic free from foreign interference. When President Jimmy Carter allowed the Shah into the United States for cancer treatment in October, it was seen in Tehran as the ultimate betrayal. Now, the students have come for retribution. By noon, they control the embassy. 66 Americans are taken hostage, blindfolded, paraded. The images will flash across television screens worldwide. Diplomats bound and helpless, their captors waving Khomeini's portrait. The crisis will drag on for 444 days. It will end Jimmy Carter's presidency. It will birth a new doctrine in Washington. Iran is not just a rival, it is the enemy. But the hostages are only the beginning. What follows is a war fought in shadows, arms deals and assassinations, proxy militias and covert strikes. A conflict that will span continents and generations, where neither side ever declares victory and neither side ever surrenders. In September 1980, Saddam Hussein makes his move. The Iraqi dictator, emboldened by Iran's post-revolutionary chaos, orders his tanks across the border. He believes the war will last weeks. It lasts 8 years. 1 million dead. Chemical weapons deployed. Child soldiers sent into minefields clutching plastic keys to paradise. The U.S. backs Iraq with intelligence and arms. So does the Soviet Union. So does France. Iran stands alone, bleeding defiant. And in that crucible, a new identity is forged. Not the Iran of the Shah's cocktail parties and American advisors, but the Islamic Republic, besieged, self-reliant, paranoid. A nation that learns to survive by striking back in ways its enemies cannot predict. February 12, 1992, 9:47 p.m. Mykonos restaurant, Berlin, Germany. 4 men sit at a corner table, speaking in Farsi. The restaurant is warm, filled with the smell of grilled lamb and the hum of dinner conversation. Outside, the streets are slick with February rain. One of the men, Sadegh Sharif Kandi, leader of the Kurdish Democratic Party of Iran, leans back in his chair, laughing at something his colleague has said. He doesn't notice the two figures entering through the front door. They move quickly, no hesitation. The first pulls a Beretta from his jacket. The second carries a MAC 10 submachine gun. The shots come in rapid succession. Crack, 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 a sound that shatters the room into chaos. Sheriff Candy slumps forward, blood pooling on the white tablecloth. 3 others fall beside him. The gunmen are gone before the screaming starts. German police will later trace the operation back to Tehran, to the Ministry of Intelligence, to orders signed by men in the highest levels of Iran's government. It is one of dozens of such killings across Europe in the 1990s. Dissidents, exiles, anyone who threatens a regime's grip. But it is also a message to the West. Iran's reach extends far beyond its borders. Cross us and nowhere is safe. By the mid-1990s, the Islamic Republic has rebuilt itself from the ashes of war. The economy is battered, the population exhausted, but the clerical leadership is firmly in control, and they have learned a crucial lesson from the Iran-Iraq War. Direct confrontation with stronger powers is suicide. The solution is asymmetry. Proxies. Hezbollah in Lebanon, trained and funded by Iran's Revolutionary Guards, becomes a model, an armed movement capable of striking Israel without flying the Iranian flag. In 1996, Hezbollah operatives detonate a truck bomb outside Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia, killing 19 U.S. airmen. The attack is traced back to Iranian intelligence. Washington responds with sanctions. More sanctions. The pattern is set. Iran acts, the West punishes. Iran adapts. But the real alarm bells ring in 2002. An Iranian dissident group reveals the existence of 2 secret nuclear facilities, one at Natan's deep underground, designed to enrich uranium, the other at Iraq, built to produce plutonium. The International Atomic Energy Agency demands access. Tehran stalls. Inspectors arrive to find centrifuges spinning, thousands of them in vast subterranean halls. The official line from Tehran: this is for peaceful energy. No one believes it. Israel certainly doesn't. In the offices of Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv, analysts pore over satellite imagery, defector testimonies, intercepted communications. They map out the facilities, the scientists, the supply chains. A list begins to form. Names, targets. January 12, 2010. 7:20 a.m. Shahid Beheshti University, Tehran. Professor Masoud Ali Mohammadi locks his car and starts toward the campus entrance. It's a cold morning, the kind where your breath misses in front of your face. He's thinking about his lecture, about the equations he'll write on the board. He doesn't see the motorcycle parked 50 meters away. Doesn't notice a magnetic bomb adhered to his Peugeot's undercarriage. The explosion rips through the street. Windows shatter 3 blocks away. Ali Mohammadi's body is thrown 10 meters, unrecognizable. He is the first. Over the next 2 years, 4 more Iranian nuclear scientists will die in similar attacks. Motorcycles pulling alongside their cars in morning traffic, riders attaching bombs, speeding away. One scientist, Mostafa Mahdi Roshan, is killed in broad daylight in January 2012. His driver incinerated beside him. Iran knows who is responsible. Mossad, perhaps the CIA. The assassinations are clinical, precise, designed to decapitate the nuclear program one mind at a time. Tehran retaliates clumsily, botched bomb plots against Israeli diplomats in Bangkok, New Delhi, Tbilisi. The message is clear. We can reach you too. But the executions are sloppy, the operatives caught. Iran's covert capabilities lag far behind Israel's. Then comes Stuxnet. In 2010, engineers at Natan's noticed something strange. Centrifuges are failing at an alarming rate, spinning out of control, destroying themselves. The machines are Swiss-made, precision instruments, not prone to malfunction. It takes months to discover the cause. A computer worm, the most sophisticated cyber weapon ever created. Stuxnet infiltrates the facility's control systems, reprograms the centrifuges to self-destruct, and covers its tracks. Nearly 1,000 machines are rendered useless. The worm is later traced to a joint U.S.-Israeli operation, codenamed Olympic Games. It is sabotage without bombs, war without soldiers. And it works. Iran's nuclear program is set back by years. But it doesn't stop. Tehran rebuilds. New centrifuges are installed. New scientists are recruited. The program goes deeper underground, literally. Facilities burrowed into mountains, shielded by meters of reinforced concrete. Sanctions tighten. The Iranian rial collapses. Inflation spirals. Ordinary Iranians wait in line for hours to buy bread. Yet, the centrifuges keep spinning. In Washington and Tel Aviv, a grim calculus takes hold. Pressure works, but it doesn't break them. Every strike is absorbed. Every setback overcome. Iran is not collapsing. It's adapting, and its influence is spreading. March 15th, 2011, 6:32 p.m. Dara, Syria. 15 boys, the oldest barely 16, are dragged from their homes by Syrian security forces. Their crime, graffiti, spray painted on a school wall in crude Arabic letters. The people want to follow the regime. It is the same slogan echoing across the Arab world. Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, where dictators are toppling like dominoes. But Bashar al-Assad has no intention of falling. The boys are taken to a detention center. For 2 weeks, their families hear nothing. When they are finally released, their bodies tell the story. Fingernails torn out, cigarette burns. One boy, 13-year-old Hamza al-Hadib, is returned in a body bag, his jaw shattered, genitals mutilated. The images spread across social media. Protests erupt. Assad's forces open fire. Within months, Syria is burning, and Iran makes a choice. In a secure conference room in Tehran, Major General Qasem Soleimani, commander of the Quds Force, the Revolutionary Guard's External Operations Wing, lays out the stakes. Syria is not just another Arab nation. It is Iran's strategic corridor to the Mediterranean. Assad is not just an ally. He is the bridge to Hezbollah in Lebanon, the linchpin of the so-called axis of resistance against Israel and the West. If Assad falls, the entire architecture collapses. Soleimani doesn't wait for permission. Within weeks, Iranian advisors are on the ground in Damascus. Not thousands, dozens at first. Elite officers who train Syrian militias, coordinate artillery strikes, shore up crumbling front lines. Then come the proxies. Hezbollah fighters cross from Lebanon, battle-hardened from years of guerrilla war against Israel. Shia militias are recruited from Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Poor men promise money and martyrdom. They are flown to Syria, armed, and fed into the meat grinder. By 2013, the war is no longer Syrian. It is regional, sectarian. Iran and its proxies prop up Assad. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states fund Sunni rebels. The U.S. arms moderate opposition groups, though the weapons often end up in the hands of jihadists. Russia enters in 2015, its warplanes carpet-bombing rebel strongholds. The civilian death toll climbs into the hundreds of thousands. But Iran achieves its objective. Assad survives. And in the process, Tehran establishes a land corridor stretching from its own borders through Iraq and Syria to Lebanon, a highway for weapons, fighters, and influence. Israeli intelligence watches with alarm. Iranian Revolutionary Guards are now stationed less than 40 miles from the Golan Heights. April 17, 2018, 3:42 a.m. T. For Airbase, Homs Province, Syria. The radar operator sees them first. 8 blips streaking low across the Lebanese border. F-15 fighter jets, Israeli, flying nap of the earth to avoid Syrian air defenses. They climb suddenly, releasing their payloads, then bank hard back toward Israeli airspace. The missiles strike with pinpoint accuracy. Hangars explode. Ammunition depots detonate in chain reactions that light up the pre-dawn sky. When the smoke clears, 14 are dead. 7 of them are Iranian Revolutionary Guards officers. It is one of hundreds of strikes. Israel calls it the campaign between wars, a sustained effort to prevent Iran from entrenching itself in Syria. Weapons convoys are destroyed on desert highways. Research facilities are leveled. Iranian commanders are assassinated in precision drone strikes. Tehran protests, threatens retaliation, but rarely follows through. The calculus is clear. Direct war with Israel risks catastrophic losses. Better to absorb the strikes, rebuild, and try again. Meanwhile, another battlefield opens. In Yemen, a ragtag militia called the Houthis, Shia rebels backed by Iran, seizes the capital, Sana'a, in 2014. Saudi Arabia responds with a bombing campaign, backed by U.S. intelligence and weapons. The war becomes a quagmire. Houthi drones and missiles, supplied by Iran, strike Saudi oil facilities, Riyadh's airports, cargo ships in the Red Sea. The Saudis, despite their advanced American jets and billion-dollar defense systems, cannot suppress them. Iran's strategy is clear. It cannot match American or Israeli firepower directly, so it multiplies itself. Hezbollah, the Houthis, Iraqi Shia militias, Syrian proxies, each one a piece on the chessboard, expendable but effective. Each one denies the enemy a clear target. You cannot invade a network. You cannot bomb an ideology. And then, briefly, a different path emerges. July 14th, 2015. Vienna, Austria. After 20 months of negotiations, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action is signed. Iran agrees to dismantle two-thirds of its centrifuges, ship out 98% of its enriched uranium, and allow intrusive inspections in exchange for sanctions relief. President Obama calls it a historic achievement. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls it a historic mistake. For 2 years, the deal holds. Iran complies with the terms. International inspectors verify it. European companies rush back into the Iranian market. Oil exports resume. It is the closest thing to détente in nearly 4 decades. Then comes November 2016. Donald Trump wins the U.S. presidency. In May 2018, he withdraws from the agreement, calling it the worst deal ever negotiated. Sanctions snap back into place, harsher than before. European companies flee. The Iranian economy crashes again. Inflation returns. The rial loses half its value overnight. In Tehran, hardliners say, "We told you so." You cannot trust the Americans. You cannot negotiate with an enemy that changes its mind with every election. The moderates who champion diplomacy are sidelined. And the man who emerges as the face of Iran's defiance is the same one who had been orchestrating its regional expansion for 2 decades. Qasem Soleimani, the shadow commander, the strategist who built the axis of resistance with his own hands, who flew into Baghdad and Damascus when those cities were on the brink, who turned proxies into power. By 2019, his face is everywhere in Iran. Murals, posters, state television. He is untouchable, or so it seems.